My challenge is to find home gym accessories to make this a proper place to work out, but I'd rather not get a second mortgage or a divorce. Can't actually believe it, that came to £226. And that's for everything on my list. I recently took on my wife's challenge to build a home gym in 24 hours for under $1,000. Win, and I keep it. Lose, and I give it away to a subscriber on this channel. The result was debatable, so watch it after this and let me know what you think.
But right now,
I'm left with a pretty bare looking gym. That's how I ended up here. So if you're like me and you would love to take your barbell everywhere with you, no, just me? Well, the first item on this list solves that issue in a much better way. No, it's not a bigger suitcase. I'm talking about gymnastics rings, or it could be a suspension trainer. So I've had access to a TRX at work for the past few years, but here are the issues that I had with it. I didn't know what to do with them at first. The straps rubbed my elbows. Anytime I did a chest press, they could go skewiffy as they're joined together to do certain exercises. There's no doubt that suspension trainers are better for some things, as the handles turn, so curls and tricep extensions don't twist your wrist as much. Plus, they usually have a foot strap, unlike most rings. They actually look pretty decent. You can attach them onto your rack, the door, or a tree. One of the main reasons I wanted rings this time is because when we travel, I can do full body weight exercises such as pull-ups on them. I'd also love to learn muscle-ups, but I'm still too weak for that. Or maybe my technique is poor, I'm not sure. Let me know if you have any tips for me in the comments. The bottom line is that a decent set of rings and a relatively cheap suspension trainer are going to cost about the same, and the rings will just be far better quality. So since I got the next item on the list, I've used them for 100% of every workout since. I'm using them here and here and here. Do you notice what they are?
here's your hint. It rhymes with plate shifting ooze.
So here's the main benefit of weightlifting shoes. Weightlifting shoes have a lack of heel compression. Squatting in running shoes is comparable to squatting on a bed. You'll lose force as the bed squishes. You'll also notice three things in weightlifting shoes. Number one, the sole looks super flat. This is just so that your whole foot is very stable on the floor. Number two is there's an elevated heel. And three, the straps increase sideways stability and they suck your foot into the heel, preventing the foot from moving inside the shoe. The difference is subtle, but you can really notice the difference if you ever go back to using running shoes. Powerlifting shoes normally have flat heels, and Olympic weightlifting shoes have a little lift in the heel, making it easier to get your knees in front of your toes. Just try to avoid shoes with more than a 1-inch heel. It may help your range of movement for squats, but it will make pulling a deadlift feel like cross-dressing on a Saturday night. These will probably set you back around $50 if you can find them secondhand on Marketplace, or they can cost up to $200. So I just got these Reebok PR2 shoes, which you can easily pick up on Amazon or all kinds of places. And I got this from a review from Jake Bowley's website, just because I really like the reviews that he does on shoes. It's not the same thing, but a cheaper alternative would be to get a slant board that can cost you under $20, something like this. It can help for squats if you have poor ankle mobility, but it's also really useful just for everyday stretching. Anyway, Mr. Rippertoe claims weightlifting shoes are the only accessory you really need. And if they're good enough for Mark, they're good enough for me. Now, one of the main issues I hear from long-time home gymmers is they get bored of their workouts. I've got to be honest here, this is a piece of equipment that I didn't really know how to use when I first tried it. No, it's not that elastic thing. It's a kettlebell. It's actually quite heavy. I have done some full body kettlebell workouts recently, and the next day I was walking like John Wayne.
You realise I had muscles there.
If you get just one kettlebell, it can add so much variety to your workouts. 8 to 12 kilograms is probably good enough for most beginners. You can pick one up for under $30, making it a no-brainer.
Just a little side note, Bells of Steel recently sent me this adjustable kettlebell. So just let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to do a full review of this beast.
If you're like me, your friends love it when you consistently talk about your home gym. Ooh, you'll never guess what bargain I just found on Marketplace for my gym. Oh really, can we please just talk about something else for once? Yeah, I'm that guy. But the one question people seem to care about is, Just out of curiosity, what do you have for cardio? Is it a treadmill? Nope. A rower? Nope. Air bike? My personal belief is you're good with the road for running, or a real bike, which can make a great additional transport system. But I know some people want to avoid the rain and also the insane heat at certain times of year. And so having an option inside is always a good thing. So my go-to for cardio is always a jump rope. No surprise really, is it? I find them way more fun than running, and this one actually gets recommended all over the place. But to be honest, I don't think it really matters too much. Just avoid the thick ropes or weird gadgety ones with clicks and things like that. I mean, these cost under $20, so definitely get it. So I just stood on these cans because I'm showing you the difference in pressure. This is the same thing that happens when we squat or deadlift. We add pressure to our core to stabilize the lower back by breathing in. A weightlifting belt helps with this. When you breathe in, your abs tighten more when they touch the belt compared to not having a belt at all. So my old belt is a nylon belt, which is 4 inches at the back and 2 inches at the front. And Mr. Rippetoe taught me these are not great, as it's the pressure on your abs that supports the spine. But I found it was still better than nothing. The weight belt is so much more of a beast than this measly thing. Look at the size of it. I would highly recommend only using a belt once you're getting to heavier weights. Only use this for the final warm-up set and your actual lifting weight. Otherwise, it's possible to become over-reliant on them. And please do not be a gym bro and use it when bench pressing. This will set you back between $30 to $100.
Oh, shipwrecked.
I know you've been there. Maybe it's pull-ups, or it could have been dips, or even press-ups.
So eventually we all get to a stage where we want to progress some bodyweight movements. They are simply the best ones to do for certain muscles.
It looks like you can get some pretty affordable weight vests, and these can be great because you can wear them for all kinds of bodyweight exercises. But seeing as we want to find cheap, I'm going with a dip belt. So I've got a dip belt. I actually think weighted pull-ups are probably one of the most underrated exercises that exist. You're looking at around $20 to $50 for one of these. Quality isn't overly important for something like this, unlike something like the weightlifting belt.
Ah, shizzle and nizzle. Why does this hurt my little chicken legs so much? Oh, I don't even know how people do this one. It's gonna leave me a bruise.
So here's the barbell pad, and to be honest, I always used to kind of think that doing hip thrust was a really girly exercise. But seriously, the hip thrust has had a huge difference to my deadlifts and overall stability of my lower back. Also, there's so much more you can do with it with a bit of creativity, such as seated calf raises, Nordic curls, preacher curls, Bulgarian split squats, sissy squats. Although I would not recommend using it for squats. It's a common mistake, but get used to the bar on your back as it can slide inside the barbell pad. For $10 to $20, this is the biggest bargain on the whole list, in my opinion. So this may be an option for the super savvy home gymmers, but let's face it, you're not going to be confidently adding weight to these. So if you agree with my selection of the 4 essential home gym items, you will already have a squat rack or a power rack. One of the best attachments for that are dip bars. And something you absolutely need to check out is our epic power rack attachment compatibility guide. With over 400 attachments included in the guide, we'll keep growing it and keep it up to date each year. You can find attachments for the exact size of your rack, but you can also see the type of attachments that exist on there. I'm very much looking forward to using these. It's one of those exercises that's quite hard to hack in any other way safely. You can pick up really cheap ones from Amazon if your rack fits that tight for under like $20. But realistically, it's going to probably set you back around $40 to $150 if you get your exact brand. This loses force here. This just doesn't feel the same. This simply isn't possible. This is probably the one item that I would personally love to include in my essential list. It's the cable machine. Now I can already hear your minds thinking, I thought this was a list for budget items. Well, here's a sneaky hack that surprises me that more people don't do with a home gym. So here we go, the cable pulley system. It's obviously not going to be super high quality, but it simply does the job, and you're not going to need to do any DIY stuff with it. It solves the issue of being able to do lat raises, which I prefer on a cable machine, overhead tricep extensions, low rows, kneeling pull downs, and a whole heap of exercises that you'd need to spend thousands of dollars on usually. Get one of these and try it. I've been pleasantly surprised by the smoothness and how quiet they are.
Feels just like a cable machine. The main downside I can see is the way that you have to unattach this to add or change any weights. Changing it from like a high to low pulley is not ideal either. I realise that I'm probably going to use it mainly for things like lat raises and things like that. So I want the low one down there and I also want the high one there. Then all I've done is I've just unclipped it, and then that way it's not going to get in the way of all my other exercises, and it should be pretty quick to put together next time I come to use it. It's very minor flaws for something that is so affordable and accessible for anyone with a rack.
You can spend what you want here, from $20 to $100, but if you do it yourself, you're looking at around $30, and you'll probably get better quality cables. But then you'd have to buy all of the attachments additionally as well.
While a barbell is obviously one of the most versatile pieces of equipment, it's not great for targeting your rear delts. And I'd actually argue resistance bands are just as versatile.
There really is so much resistance bands can do. It's an absolute must for me to add into any gym. But I am looking for certain things. I don't want the super cheap things like this because they'll just break easily. And I don't want these tube types just because they're not as versatile. So the sweet spot is a brand like Rubber Bandits or the likes. Yeah, these are some of the best things you'll own. $30 for a small set to $120 for a complete set. You'll be grateful for these time and time again. So there is a ton you can do with a home gym without breaking the bank, especially if you're a bit savvy with your purchases.
Here's the truth about home gyms. It's not always rainbows and butterflies, and it can be hard at times. So don't even consider starting building a home gym unless you can handle the 5 things in this video.